All right. Well, welcome back to the podcast. So this one's going to be kind of short, guys. I am recording this from Colorado, and Lindsay and I came out here with some of our really good friends to an event that John Eldridge was hosting, and I'll talk more about that down the road. It was one of those things where it was so good. I really need some time to process a lot of the things that I heard and then decide how to bring that to you. And with that in mind, sitting here looking out the window, I'm looking at beautiful mountains, the Rockies, the clouds, and I think what I want to do is just ask you, how are you doing? This will be episode 11, and we've covered a lot of territory together. And, I know some of the stuff's probably been pretty heavy. Some of the stuff has maybe caused you to think about things that you never thought you would need to think about. We've talked a little bit about deconstruction and reconstruction and what that looks like. We've talked about the church. We've talked about leadership. We've talked about identity. So we've talked about a lot of things. And I think as I sit here right now, reflecting on this podcast and reflecting on this past weekend and the events, I think it's just really kind to my heart and to yours to say, how are you doing? How's your heart? How's your mind? Stopping and taking inventory. I've said it a lot, situational awareness. It's so important to do that. And so I don't think this is a question that I'm asking that you have an answer right off the top of your head. This is probably something that you need to sit in for a little bit. But I think it'll be helpful for you to do that. How am I doing? And as you think through that, and as you it's like, where do you start when you think, how am I doing? Because I think people ask all the time, how are you doing? Oh, I'm fine. It becomes like kind of like a reflex answer. And so whenever I asked you that, you might be like, oh, I'm fine. Oh, Scott, I'm tired. It's been a long week. And I'm not saying that's not an answer, but I want you to go deeper. And I want you to ask yourself, how's my heart? How are you with the life you have right now? And this timeline right now, if you're a wife, if you're a husband, if you're with your work, with your activities, your hobbies, your friendships, from a spiritual standpoint, how are you doing in your relationship with Jesus Christ? And if you don't have an answer right away, that's okay. You don't have to have an answer right away. But asking the question and taking the time to think about it allows you, and I don't know if prepare is the right word, but maybe it allows you to start deciding what needs to be a priority. Maybe another way to think about this is, where are you finding life and joy, hope and peace and love? And where are you finding death? Like it feels like the end of things. Where are you finding frustration, stress, anxiety? Identify those things. Because if we don't, I think it's like we're always, we're just hanging on for dear life. And I don't think that's any way to live. I really don't. And so, like I said, this is going to be a short podcast just because I'm traveling. My Wi-Fi connection is not the greatest right now. But do that for me between now and the next podcast, because I'm going to bring you some stuff. But like I said, I need to process a little bit longer before I can really bring to you what I think is helpful. Because we covered so many bases. I mean, so many bases. I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about the path that I'm on with God, the path that I'm on with friends, relationships. So since the last podcast, a lot has happened. not bad, like good stuff. But I need to process that. I need to let my heart transition from one thing to the next. And so sit on that question for a little while. And I'd really, really encourage you as you do this, write down the question. And whether you're using your phone and you have your notes open, or if you keep a journal, keep it close. And as you think about things, write it down, and reflect on it throughout the week. I think you'll find it really, really helpful. I think you'll find it orienting and centering. And I think it'll be a really, really good thing to do. Because like I told you, I don't always know really what these podcasts are going to include. I don't always have the topic. I just know that I've heard a lot in this weekend has been really good, and it's been nourishing. And so I'll be bringing something to you probably in multiple episodes. But think about where we've been together, where we've been together on this episode, in this podcast. Think about where we've been in this podcast, the things that we've talked about. How are you doing with that? How are you doing in life? And I'll see you on the next podcast.